Hey everybody. Today we are going to be discussing a little bit about executive functioning skills. We are lucky enough to have our educational specialist here at Child and Family Development. I am lucky enough to have Jessica DeLang with us here. So I'm going to have Jessica tell a little bit about her history here at Child and Family Development, and then we will get into some of those hot topic questions for her to answer. Hi Jessica, how are you doing today?
Good morning. So just like Sam said, I am one of the educational specialists at Child and Family Development. I'm in our Midtown office location. I've been here a little over 12 years. I work very closely with our psychology team and the counselors here, and we do everything from evaluations for learning disorders to helping parents get services at school or offering consultative services to parents. And then my favorite part is working with children and students. And so we do a lot of work with kids, and I work with many middle school and high school students on executive functioning skills. And I'm happy to be able to share some information today.
Great. Well, thank you for being here. Just to kind of start out, we have a lot of parents who might not know what executive functioning looks like. So, can you give us some examples of what those skills reflect and how they're used in day-to-day life?
Yeah, so executive functioning skills, kind of in a nutshell, it's a set of skills that are responsible for things like planning or prioritizing. Executive functioning skills are responsible for things like time management, and so basically, this set of skills allows us to retain and work with information in our brains in a really efficient way. When I'm working with students, I often refer to executive functioning skills as the boss of your brain. So, having nothing to do with how smart you are, has nothing to do with all the good things that you know, but it is responsible for just making you more efficient and knowing how to plan, prioritize, pay attention, and check in and reflect, all of those things.
Perfect. Great. And what would you say the developmental progression of executive functioning skills looks like?
So that's a great question, and it's one that we get often. All the educators that I work with, it's important to know that we are not born with executive functioning skills, but we are born with the potential to learn them. And some kids organically just sort of catch on, and they are naturally organized and just sort of get it. Other students need explicit instruction on some of these skills, but they are absolutely skills that we learn and that we develop over time. As adults, we've all kind of developed our own executive functioning skills to work for what we need. Now we know so much more about them, so we can start teaching our children a little bit earlier. I do think that it's also important to know that not every child or every student needs instruction in every executive functioning skill. So you might be great with time management and need a little bit more support prioritizing things, or you may be really great with knowing how to study for a test, but you're having trouble with some self-regulation and you're constantly interrupting the teacher or blurting things out in class. So it's not a one size fits all. There's a lot of trial and error, but they are definitely things that can be taught. Also, on the note of developmental progression, kids there's a lot of hand holding through middle school, and I think that's a big misconception. I think when kids go to middle school, we expect them to know how to, organize their backpacks and take notes and be efficient, but it usually takes more time than that and a little more hand holding. We don't see kids start to be independent with these skills until they're closer to high school.
Great. And kind of to segue, what you were just talking about in schools, how do these executive functioning skills affect children in schools and what their day-to-day may look like going to classes?
Yeah, so students that have a weakness with executive functioning skills, and I know I'm kind of talking about them in general, and so we're thinking about whether you who are tuning in have a child who is in elementary school or in middle school or in high school. Some broad examples for any age group could be things like, the child does the homework and then forgets to turn it in, or you receive a study guide from the teacher and it's completely overwhelming and you're not sure where to start, or even efficient ways to study, knowing that studying for math is different than studying for a history test. Some other real world examples are things like being able to break down a large project into kind of
Mhm.
more manageable parts. We see a lot of kids wait till the last minute, and then all of a sudden, a day or two before this project's due, we're, cramming and trying to get it done. So
Yeah.
procrastination is something we often see. And a lot of times those kids will start to feel really down or bad about themselves. And that's why, as I noted earlier, it's important to talk about how these skills, they don't have anything to do with how smart you are. So a child
Mhm.
who's really bright but is getting poor grades because they forget to turn in their homework is, might start saying things like they feel stupid or they just can't do it. And so that is really important to get some extra support for kids who are
Mhm.
struggling with executive functioning skills, because it can affect their school performance and their grades and their academic confidence.
Absolutely. And I know there's a lot of misconceptions around this, but kids who do not have an ADHD diagnosis, can they also struggle with these executive functioning skills?
Yeah. So ADHD and executive functioning are two terms that often go hand in hand. But that doesn't mean that you don't still struggle with certain aspects of executive functioning if you do not have ADHD. So
Mhm.
kids that might be feeling a little anxious, their executive functions can be impacted. If they're worried about their performance, they might not be able to focus their attention. Students that are just neurotypical and going about their day with no diagnoses, they also can maybe not be the best with time management, or you may see them interrupting often. So, like I said, it's not one size fits all. And I do think that, everybody can, even adults, we can always be sharpening our executive function skills, finding a better or more efficient way to get things done. And
Absolutely.
so, definitely.
Yeah, great. And there's always room for growth for everybody, no
That's
matter
right.
what age. Absolutely. Last question here. What resources are available to support a child who may be struggling with these executive functioning skills?
Yeah, so of course, we here, the educators here, we are always happy to be a resource. We have lots of families that will email us or call us with questions. We do a lot of parent consultations. So if you just have questions, you want to know about getting through homework time, you want to know about how to communicate with the teacher and find out how your child's doing with these skills, or just a few tips, you can do a one-time consultation. We also do executive function coaching. There are others in the community that do this as well. And really, that looks like just working with your child and teaching them about these skills and kind of really figuring out where they need some additional support and offering suggestions. There's also a really wonderful website that I refer to often. It's called the Center for Child Development at Harvard. So if you go to the harvard.edu website, you'll see the Developing Child Center, and they have a lot of information about executive functioning skills and ways to support your child. Um, Also, the Child and Family Development blog has a lot
Mhm.
of great blogs that highlight tips and ideas and explanations for executive functioning.
Yeah, absolutely. We are obviously more than happy to help any family that may need us. You can always submit an appointment request form online at our website, which is at www.childandfamilydevelopment.com. You can also give us a call. I will list those phone numbers here at the end of this video for anyone who would like to call. But I appreciate your time, Jessica. Thank you for being here.
Sure.
And yeah, we're excited to see more families.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me.
Yep, have a good one.